What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? What's going on? Welcome to another episode of the HotBox Podcast.
Yeah.
We are here today with a special episode. As you see, it's different location. We are moving around. We're doing new things. We're freshening it up. We're here at the barber shop. You know, it's the counseling for the natural black man, barbershop.
Exactly.
So we're here.
Yes,
I'm here with my man, Mr. Derrion White, aka D White. Follow on Instagram. Crispy cuts, you already know. Shout out to my pops, aka Mr. Wilford Humes. All right, they gracefully agreed to join us today for this conversation about fathers. Fathers. I'm not a father yet, but they are fathers. They've been fathers for a while, and I know that they have great advice to give me to pass on to different generations. And we're going to ask them a few questions, and we're going to do what we're going to do because we're hot in. So hot in here. That's what we're doing. All right. Are you guys ready to go? You ready to roll?
Sir. Yes, sir. Let's talk about it.
He's getting this fresh up right now.
Let's talk about it.
All right. So now my first question I have for you is what was your first, and whoever can answer, both of you guys can answer, we'll just go from there. What was your first initial feeling that you had when you found out you were becoming a father? Anybody can answer, whoever wants to go first.
My first initial feeling, honestly, I felt like I had purpose at that very moment when I found out I had a child on the way. And at the age of 20, was when I had my first child. I had a mentality that I was going to live forever and I could live reckless. So, when you know you're having a child and somebody else is about to be in the vehicle, yeah, you can't drive reckless like you used to no more.
Right.
You gotta be a little cautious with every step that you take. So, definitely, man, a sense of purpose and just an overwhelming feeling, man, of just something else to take care of.
And having your own.
Come on, man. Just to be a part of somebody else's life and to give them what you didn't have.
For me, I have been involved in so many other young people's lives by the time I had my children. I was 26 going on 27 when I had my first one. But, in the neighborhood, always being a big brother, to the kids in the neighborhood. So I always did so much for them. But when I found out that I was having my own son, I felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility that now, these other young men I could take care of and send them back home. But I'm going to have one that's going to be with me all the time.
That's right.
And because he's going to be with me all the time, now the responsibility is all on me. Whatever he is, however he is, it's going to be on me. Because I saw these other young men, and, they had backgrounds, they had lives, they came from another place, so I saw the things in them. But when I knew that I was going to have my own son, I thought about the advantages, the things that I would expose him to, just what I can do, to make him a good, decent individual. And so I just felt the responsibility of, it was going to take something.
Right. I tell you this, it's like the best gift that you have ever received in your life.
Oh yeah.
The best gift ever. And you can receive great gifts like vehicles or anything like that, but this is a gift it's a long-term gift.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you never lose interest in after a while.
Yeah.
So it's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah. I think about when I think about becoming a father. The first thing I think about is setting a tone of something that I probably didn't get when I was growing up.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's
right.
So I was like, if I get a son, I grew up watching a lot of TV shows, Fresh Prince, and Uncle Phil, and I grew up off the Cosby Show, and I had that illusion of that perfect scenario, come here, son, let me put my hand around your shoulder and all that stuff. And I said when I get a son or when I become a father, I wanted to create, I know it's not going to be perfect, but I wanted to just create that situation. I wanted to create my own chapter.
Bro, you know what, that scene where he cried when they was talking about his father?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He said, why did you want me?
I felt that, man, because that was my life. That was my life. And when I had my children, I was like, man, I don't want them to feel that. I don't want them to ever have to feel that. So no matter what it takes for me to stay with my wife and for us to work it out, just so we can be together and raise them children together, I was willing to do.
It's based on what you experienced. Huh?
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
So life lessons from your personal life helped also to shape your mindset when you found out you were gonna become a father and stuff like that.
I just realized it was gonna really take something. You know, when I knew I was gonna have children, I knew it was gonna take something out of my life. Okay. You know, you really can't do the things that you used to do. You know, because your focus has to be on them, and it really does. You know, if you really want to be a good parent, you know, your focus really has to be on your children for that time. It's a time. It's a season. You know, and as you said, Derrion, it's a long season.
It's a long season.
You know, and you
long journey.
Yeah, and you have to realize that from the beginning. You know, that it's going to be a long season, and you got to be willing to put in the work. You know, because I'm quite sure that's one of your questions. You know, what does it take to be a good father? It takes a lot.
That wasn't, but you know what? Tell me.
It takes a lot of time and attention, man. A lot of time. That's the biggest thing with your children. You have to allot them time, and that's what a lot of people don't seem to have time for. You know, time for the children. You have to talk to them. You have to listen to them. My wife taught me so much when it came to my children, even how to view my children, how to look at them. My wife never saw our children for today. She always saw our children in the future. So everything that she did for them or did to them, it was all for the future. You know, she wasn't so much into the moment. You know, she was into what I'm going to do for you now. That's going to prepare you for the future. And I just thought that was awesome. That really shaped a lot of how I viewed my children. Based on her saying that.
Well, Pops, let me put a pin in that right there, because what you saying that how moms did things for the future and it made you view things different. Mm-hmm. I used to resent my parents for that.
Yeah.
You know, for like, because why are you saying I need to do this for? Yeah. Oh, because I see you going here. I see you going there. I never got that. Like, I never understood why my dad will put me here or want me to learn this or want me to learn that. I'm like, what is it going to do for me right now? But then you become a grown man, you start to like realize.
Most young people don't understand that. They don't see that. I mean, that's why you're a parent. You know, that's why you're an adult. You know, you see things a whole lot differently. And for most young people that you deal with, you can actually deal with that young person and kind of get an idea of what's going to happen in the future based on how they are. You know. And that's what gives you the unction to do things. I see other young people and I say, I don't want to compare my kids to other kids, but I know what I want my sons to be and what I want them to do. So I do things to make them that. You know what I'm saying?
So what would you say to a father, for both of you guys? What would you say to a new father that had a rough upbringing, that had their mindset of what? Like, the child's coming already, but it's one of those kind of, I wasn't expecting to have a child, but the child is on its way. They had a bad situation when it came to their upbringing with their father and all that stuff. Like, what would you say to them to change their mind? What kind of advice would you give them to kind of change their mindset?
Go ahead, D. Take that one.
No, you go ahead, man.
Well, from my point of view, I had a really good upbringing. Mm-hmm. I didn't have some of the challenges and some of the problems that a lot of other young men had. I had my initial mom and dad. I saw the love between my mom and dad. There wasn't divorce in my family. There wasn't any physical abuse or anything like that. I never see my dad, raise his voice at my mom. Even to this day, me being 61 years old, my kids will tell you they've never, ever, ever heard me raise my voice at my wife. Ever. And I don't. Even behind closed doors, I don't do that because I didn't see that at home. My father, so I had a really good example of a father growing up. So when it came to me having children, a lot of things was based on what I experienced. And that's what you do. You bring your experience into raising your children. Mm-hmm. Either they're going to be in the environment that you have, or in your mind you're saying, my kids are never going to deal with that. And you're going to create something different for them. And that's kind of like your motivation. I had a good upbringing. I had good parents. So they taught me things. They taught me, morals and, how to, and being obedient and, manners and, a lot of young men did get that.
But what if I didn't have that though? What if I'm trying to learn that, But now I have to learn off the whim because the baby's coming. You know, I have to learn it off the rip.
Bro, and Derrion can tell you, there's no blueprint. When it comes to raising kids, there's no blueprint.
So there's no perfect mindset to have.
No.
Well, I was that one that grew up without that. So my thing was, you're going to learn from either way. Whether you have your parents there and you learn from them, or they're not there and you learn from them. I knew what I didn't want to be like. So I watched what my father was doing, and that taught me not to be that kind of father. You have the choice to become what you want to choose to be. You know what I mean? I mean, you have the choice to become what you want to be, because you're mostly like a sim. We start off as sims. We can say, this is what I want to be like. And you have the ability to dress how you want to dress. You have the ability to talk how you want to talk. You have the ability to become what kind of father you want to be. And you can literally create the perfect dad by watching good people. Truth of the matter, what happened for me, I watched all my uncles and different people, different men, and I took different qualities from everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
And I said, I like the way he take care of himself. I like the way he keep his hygiene and everything together. I like that. I like the way he take his children on vacations. You know, I like the way he sit down with his children and talk to them. Different things like that. You have a better ability because you didn't have one guy to just say, this is what I want you to do. You know what I'm saying? Because you probably already said, nah, that ain't how I want to be. So now you're in search of what you're trying to be. So you're looking at my brother here, you're looking at me, you're looking at all kind of people, and you're saying, man, I'm loving how they're treating their children, or how they are with their wives and everything like that. Because truth of the matter, man, I don't believe you would be where you are today if you didn't have people like us in your life.
And you know what? It's so true, because my dad did the best he could from how he grew up. You know, so my dad was around, but my mom placed me in front of, like I joke about this, I was in church Monday through Sunday, and she placed me around certain people. And just like how you said, it's funny you said that, I took peace from everybody. Like how they dress, their swag. Like my dad was a great dresser, so I take his swag. But I called the bishop of the church grandpa, right? But I took his stature. He speaks, you know, he stands a certain type of way. He articulates words a certain way. I used to mimic words that I see fathers do on television. So somebody will talk to you like, man, you read a lot of books. Like, no. I saw him use a word a particular way, and I was like, man, that's cool. So I'm gonna put it in my vocabulary, and I'm gonna use it the same way. So it's funny, you know, just 'cause I'm just thinking about this generation. We're in a generation now where everything is like microwave. Everything is like, we want to get it right the first time, and now we have social media, and with social media, it's always painting this picture of what you supposedly need to be, or what you should be, or what roles you'll follow. But then social media never shows you like the background of what if you're not prepared? What do you say? What if you say the wrong thing to the child? You know, behind the scenes. Like, what if you say the wrong thing to your son or your daughter? Like, what do you do? How do you correct that?
But honestly, what is a perfect dad? You know, there's no perfect dad. You know, I can sit here and be like, oh, I did a great job. My children might say, hey, man, you could have did better. You know what I'm saying?
Like, there is no perfect
so what we're just trying to do is the best we can do, you know. Honestly, we can say, okay, I just want to, you know, be what God told me to be. But God didn't prepare us for this either. You know, this is something that we just have to, you do your best, man. You know, as a godly man, you know what not to do. So as long as we don't do that, I believe what God has created us to be is what we are, man. It's what we're going to be. As long as we're walking uprightly before God, we're not going to do something that's displeasing to Him. As long as we're walking uprightly before Him, we're not going to displease Him. So we're going to be the best dad that we can possibly be. I know my children might think I was a little rough. You know what I'm saying? I was really strict. I was really strict on my twins. So Nobody want to edit that part, but listen.
That's the part my wife told me don't talk about. Because I'm old school.
It's
and
real,
that's something that's lost. You know,
It's real.
there's an old school that's not around anymore. You know, with this generation.
Yeah.
When our parents said it, they meant it. No discussion, no debate.
I totally
and that's
agree.
how we, and that's our generation. That's pretty much how we look at it. When we said it, we meant it. No discussion, no debate. You really can't live that nowadays outside the home.
And I think that's a shame because that's how I grew up.
Oh, yeah.
You don't talk when grown people are talking. You don't come around.
It's respect.
It's respect. You say yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
No, sir. If you don't, you dare pass Miss Susan and don't say good morning and stuff like that. So like you better come correct or you gonna feel it. And I think this generation is missing that. You know. Now I'm gonna say this, okay? And I know the internet's gonna go crazy.
We're in the barbershop. Say whatever
You
you
know,
want to say.
I know y'all gonna torch me for this,
We in the
but
barbershop.
I'm gonna say this, right? I feel that women are more taught how to be mothers than men are more taught how to be fathers. That's my personal opinion.
That's facts.
It is. That's true.
See, they said that's true, so I'm not the only one that feels that way. So, I think TDJ spoke about that. Didn't he preach about that one time? About like men are like we're not trained for that, so like everything is just picking. Like it's like a big pot of gumbo that we're mixing.
That's right.
Like we're always creating this new recipe because we're trying to create this certain type of dish, like to serve to like our generation. You know what I
There's a
mean?
lot of trial and error, brother.
Yeah. Sometimes you put the wrong ingredients
One thing
in.
I always tell my kids, you know, we don't always know how to handle a situation. They bring kids bring situations to you that you've never dealt with before. So I would always tell my kids, if I don't make the right decision, or if I don't do the right thing after something you've done, you know, give me some room for error because I've never dealt with that before.
Exactly.
So it's a learning. It's a learning. So you learn.
I've never
You learn
heard a
how to-
parent say that.
You learn. You learn. You learn how to deal with things. This is.
That's real.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works. And I like what you said, Linworth. You know, if you come from a bad background, if you had, you know, your parents weren't, you know, together the way they should have, you know, you can always look at others who seem to have a better handle on it. You know, I'm all about fruit. You know, you look at somebody who has children. You know, whose children are successful, doing well. You know, those are the type of people that you look at and you pick up things from and you talk to them. You talk to them. You say, what did you do? You know, how did you get there? Just like right now, you're asking us, how did we get to be the fathers that we are? And that's just what you do. And that's how you learn. That's where you learn.
So that would be like the best advice to the next generation as far as just hey, just like what would you say to generate the next generation Ron, that's coming up as fathers? Like just kind of like a final statement. Like what would you say to them? Where to seek advice?
I don't know, D. When I think about that, the first, if you think about becoming a father, my advice is to know that it's going to take something. It's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you something. I always joke with my kids and I say, you know, they're always like, Dad, you're a good dad. Oh, you're the best dad. But that cost me something.
Okay.
You don't just call me a good dad just because.
Right.
That cost me something.
Right.
That's me getting out of my bed to come in and bring you something at school that you forgot. You know, that's, you know, you saying something that you want and need and not knowing that I'm out there trying to get it for you. You know, and because of those things, they say you're a good dad. No, you don't just become a good dad. No, it's going to cost you something. So if you're going to walk into fatherhood, know that it's definitely going to cost you something. It's going to take a part of your life because you're giving your life to your children. You're pouring your life into them. You know, it's not like just, you know, you're a single man, it's just you. No. You know, it's a whole nother entity there, and it's your responsibility to pour into them. So just know it's going to take something. Not always quantity, but quality. My kids say we may have had a lot of quantity time, but the quality was always there, and I think that's important.
What about you? Do any final closing thoughts?
I would just say lead more by example. It's not really what you say, but it's what you do. If you have self-discipline, it's easy for your children to have great discipline as well. If they're watching you and seeing you committing the things that you say you're going to commit to and do what you say you're going to do, they'll be honored. to respect and honor you. So I would just say, man, just if that's the route anyone want to take, and I'm not saying it's a choice because you can't plan these things. Sometimes you just got to get ready.
You hear that?
You got to get ready.
You hear that?
So when you have children, man, just pour your love out on them, and remember that you're not raising children, you're raising young men and young women.
Yeah, for the future.
That's right. So
For the
you're
future.
building them. You're not taking anything from them. So try not to take what they already have, but in other words, build.
On top of that.
And build, instill more into it, and help direct what they are. You know, I find that a lot of parents today, they try to quiet their children down. Oh, if they got the energy, go sit down, go. You don't want to take certain things from them. What you want to do is help guide them.
Yeah.
You want to guide them. You don't want to quiet them. You want them to speak.
Well, you don't want to kill their spirit. That's how we say it. We don't want to kill their
You don't
spirit.
want to kill their spirit.
You know, but you definitely want to have things set in place where you lead them. You know, because
That's right.
yeah, the Bible does say foolishness is bound in the heart of a child.
Mm-hmm.
So they do some crazy stuff. You know.
Yeah.
But the rod of correction does drive it far from them.
I knew that scripture was coming up.
And I believe in that. Yeah. Well, just like you, D, man. When my kids were younger, and I can say this, there was something that said, "Well, he sure is hard on his boys," but my wife would always back me up and say, "That's why they listen to what he says."
Right.
You need your children to listen to you.
One of them.
You know, you never know. There could be a situation and something happening, and you know, when you need to get your kids' attention, and this or you saw, you know, mom or dad say something, I ain't paying no attention to them, or I just kind of slowly get around to responding to them. No, there may be a situation where I need you to respond, like right now, as a parent, you know, for your life. So you have to raise your children to respect you. They have to respond to you.
Always respect.
They have to. They
Always
have to.
A lot of them don't have respect to it. A lot of parents, a lot of children do not fear. Now, when I say fear, not fear for their life, but I feared my father in a good way.
Yeah.
I knew what he said was law. And if he called my full name, Leavenworth Roy McKenzie Jr., I was shaking in my boots. So it's law. So a lot of children now, they don't have that respect with that fear. Like I knew if I messed up, he was coming for me. You know, but I respected him and I respected his words.
Yeah.
A lot of children don't have that. They don't have that.
It's okay to have the fear, man, but to know that they'll tear down a mountain to make sure that child is all right.
Exactly, because you understand.
You
That's
know
what I'm
what I'm
saying.
saying?
I'm saying it's a mixture. So it's like you fear, but you know, like, listen, if stuff hit the fan, like my daddy's coming.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most
so
definitely.
you know that.
That's
So
a good dad.
that's a good father.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, most definitely.
Well, it's a good father, kind of like the Lord, right?
Yeah.
Like our Father in heaven, man. You already know, you know, when we mess up, He's gonna chastise us. But our Father don't play by that.
No, you got our back.
Man, I think you and I talked about it before, D.
Yeah.
When I had my children, that's when I came to a better understanding of how much God loves me.
Oh wow.
That's when I
That's
really
it. That's
realized
right.
how much God loves me as a father.
Yeah.
There's nothing my children can do that would turn me away from them. There's nothing I wouldn't do for them. You know, my mind and my thoughts are, you know, go before them. I want to make a way before them. And that's what God does for me. That's how much there's nothing I can do that would turn his face away from me. You know that, and so that's how I learned how much. It made me understand how much God loves me. You know, because I had my sons, I had my children, and I knew how much I loved them.
Yes.
I know how much I loved them. It had to come from God. It had to come from God.
I love that.
It had to come from
See,
God.
this is what happens in a barbershop, y'all. We could go on for hours, but you know what? I'm not gonna do you guys like that. So we're gonna cut it short. But I just want to say, listen, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the HotBox Podcast. I want to thank again to my boy, Mr. Derrion White, Mr. D. White.
Yes, sir.
And I thank you to my pops here, Mr. Wilford Hughes, aka my pops. Okay, you know, again, follow Derrion White on Instagram. Come get your crispy cuts.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you see already. You see the beard lined up. You see the head is shine right now because we up in here. Well, hot end up in here right now. Okay, follow us on HotBox on our Instagram, our Facebook. Look forward to seeing you. Shout out to my partner Jennifer. All right, she's not here right now, but shout out to you. She out there doing her thing. I know she would have been in here clowning with us in the barbershop. So, hey, you guys have a great day. Be blessed. Love plus sacrifice equals elevation, and that's what we're talking about here. All right, so you have a great day, and we are out of here.